You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Itchy, flaky scalp. Dull, dry scales. Relief from Trandoskin. Our new B12 formula has specially been developed by our scientists for your body. Say goodbye to irritation and hello to shiny, strong scales. With our 14 essential but secret oils to give your skin the wow factor and treat problem areas. Trandoskin B12 gel for scales that shine.
Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Adam. I am your host and the GM for the Coldfire Chronicles, and this is episode 15. I'm joined around the table by...
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing Jiren, a Chiss Mystic Advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Lassa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her weakness is obsession.
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his anger.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and I play Oberon Brick, who is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is justice, and his emotional weakness is cruelty.
And for this episode, I've got a question for our players. And the question is this. If you do not make it back from the Coster Thibaren, if your story ends here, today, will anyone miss you?
Complicated question for Oberon. There's at least one person who will shed a tear and have a drink. There are many more people who would definitely have a drink, then a party, then continue to have a party. And there's at least one person who would be very angry because they're out of pocket.
Lassa, before she ended up settling for some good, honest, with finger quotations, work on the planet, has spent a fair amount of time on various ships doing mostly legal jobs, mostly shipping and moving, a couple of light smuggling jobs, but nothing close to the bone. But most of those crews had separated due to financial difficulty or moving on with their lives. So there are a few people who, if she'd bumped into them, would probably be like, hey, it's nice to see you. But no one that would ever think to wonder where she was. Probably the closest she came to having someone who'd care about her is old Dougie from her old ship, the Witch. But she's pretty sure he's probably dead by now. Otherwise, she's hoping that Prinkle might miss her. They've ended up getting on quite well. He used to really annoy her, but he's quite nice. She likes him.
If we're not counting Prinkle or Mr. Sparkles...
Mr. Sparkles doesn't give a freg about any of us.
Okay, if we're not counting Prinkle, then I don't think anybody... Agatha has a family who've probably still under the impression he's in prison, because it's not been awful that long since we broke out, but they're likely to have only a passing interest in where he is at the moment. I mean, they probably miss him now, but they don't know where he is, so...
I don't want to say that you're all wrong, but you're all wrong. If you didn't survive today, I would miss you.
We rejoin our heroes, still in the Stygian depths of the Coster Thibaren, still in the gutted cargo bay. This sounds familiar. This time, however, they are on the upper deck of the gutted cargo bay. In the medical room, Lassa has managed to rig Oberon's broken rifle so it will still work, at least for the moment, and has managed to reclaim a few oxygen cylinders to allow them a few more minutes of air, as that is a commodity which is growing scarcer and scarcer by the minute. There is also, players just so you're aware, 4 stim packs salvageable from the various medical supplies in here. Oberon has used 0G to travel to where the Pathfinder ship is docked to the top of the Coster, and has found that is presently depressurized. And so, wanting to save what little air they have, he's decided to leave the umbilical closed for the moment. Our heroes now are presented with 2 very stark choices. The first is to return to the Coldfire's mercy, hope that Agatha can survive the exposure to the vacuum in his shredded spacesuit, and to leave empty-handed, and hope that their contact will still deal with them, or to press on down a tunnel from the cockpit into the heart of the asteroid in the hopes that the holocron that seems to be their prize is down there.
I don't know about you, but I don't like losing. I've lost enough on here. I think if I tell this story later and we get to this point and they go, and what happened next, Jiren? And I say, oh, we went home, I was very scared. Nobody will think I'm a mighty pirate, Captain. We need to go and deal with this and get the holocron. And before you all answer, he reaches into his pockets and pulls out 4 vials. Take this. He passes one to each. He cracks one open and takes it. What it is a calming salve. So once per session, as an action, a Force-sensitive user can make a Force check, and any light side points recover a strain per light side point. It's not a great deal, but it gives us a little bit. Calms us all down. Might help us not use up as much oxygen.
I'll go for that. So we all roll our Force dice.
That's right.
I will tuck mine away for later.
I have 2 light side points.
So you get 2 strain back.
Got 2 dark side points.
So you don't get anything.
I'm too angry. I'm messed up, man.
Angry, scared.
Not feeling calm at all.
I think we can do this. I really do.
We don't have long to do it in.
Well, let's go now then, shall we?
We star wipe away and return to our heroes gathered around the tunnel leading down to the heart of the asteroid. There is no gravity in the heart of the asteroid. The tunnel is completely pitch black. There is no lighting down here save that which our heroes are shining in themselves. Along one side of the tunnel are the grating panels taken from the cargo bay, working as a rudimentary ladder down into the asteroid.
Okay.
Just before we do that, I scratch off a stim pad.
Okay.
Agatha is switching weapons. He's got some vibro knuckles he picked up on Port Haven, so he's going to put those on because the shotguns just aren't doing it for him.
Okay.
Can I have that pistol back?
Yes.
Okay. He latches it to his belt this time, because he'll need his one hand to pull through the hole.
We'd better go down here with weapons ready, right? Because we know Mr. Flesh knows we're coming. He invited us.
We could rappel down. That will allow us a hands free. So attach the rope and then go down the hole.
Okay. I mean, there's no gravity, so
Yeah, rappelling down is going to be difficult.
strictly speaking,
You'll have to pull yourself along.
Just float. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we go anywhere, I just want to remind everybody that we've come to the ship and he's thrown everything he can at us and we're all okay. I mean, I have been better, but this might be the loss of blood talking, but I feel that we can do this. I think we should not be scared. Did you see that big thing up on the top deck? It was scary. It was terrifying, but it is not here and we are here now. Okay? It is something we can do. We are very good at what we do. And Lasser, while we have been here, I've touched parts of your power that I don't believe you've explored before. And you did a great thing for us.
You really do sound like a scholar.
What I'm saying, okay, is that I think, whilst it seems somewhat bleak, I think that we are in fact tickety-boo. I think we're okay.
This is far too serious for you. Just go back to telling us that everything will be fine, make a weird noise and smile.
A weird noise.
Like, eh, or ah, or one of those.
Is that what you think I speak like? Hey, that's not what I speak like at all.
Agatha thinks this is pep talk worthy of heights and depths.
Well, I took it from... No, that doesn't matter. Let's...
No, don't. This is season finale kind of talk. Don't do that.
We can do this. Agatha, how are you feeling?
Agatha feeling much better.
I think you need to go first, my friend.
Agatha feeling less better now.
I'm just behind you. If you get hit, I can help you.
If you get hit, just let us know and we'll know not to come down.
If Agatha gets hit, Agatha will tell you. Agatha climbs into the hole.
Oberon will be coming down as well. Oberon has his gun, which Lasser has fixed. And Lasser has the power to... I don't know what she did, but it was great.
Do I want to be absolutely the first thing that goes down this hole, or do we want to throw something to see how deep it is before we throw in?
What do you think you are?
There's no gravity.
Yeah, because in that case, whatever I throw down is going to go in a straight line to hit something.
True.
Do we have any more illumination? Because I've just got this.
Yeah.
He says, pointing at his rifle.
He pulls out of one of his many pockets in his coat, and it's kind of like a tube, which he twists, and a yellow light just glows.
Do you want to send that down first?
Well, somebody else can throw it. I'm
Okay.
a little off balance.
I have decent aim, so I throw it down the hole.
Okay. The glow rod flows down the hole, illuminating the tunnel. So the tunnel, it's about 10 foot of manufactured passageway, which has been built from liberated parts of decking of the Coster Thibaren. Then it hits what might well have been an airlock door that's open, and then it leads into what is clearly a more elaborate man-made tunnel heading down with proper ladders and railings and carabiner points. The glow rod continues tumbling down. It's about 50 or 60 foot by the time it hits the bottom, and it illuminates. You can see that the tunnel that ends, it travels on for about another further 10 or 11, maybe 12 feet into a much wider open space of some form of room down there. You can see cabling on the floor and movement, and as it kind of hits and comes to a rest there, over the intercom comes,
"Yes, come to me, flesh. Let us end this dance."
Can I strongly suggest that we disable that door?
Which side do you want to be on?
Well, we just make sure it's left open, because if one of us goes down there and then he just closes it...
Yeah, we're all going, or none of us are going.
Yes, but what I'm saying is...
Yeah.
We all have to go one by one down that hall.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a door in the middle of that hall.
Okay.
So let's disable the door.
Well, let's get to it, and before we go through, smash it.
Yes.
Okay.
With the aid of the eye, Agatha goes down the hole, as far as the door.
Okay. When you get to where the door is, you are again in darkness, because it's a very, very long shaft, and there's light at the top where the rest of the group are, and the cockpit is, and there's now light at the bottom where the glow rod is.
We are following him as soon as he sets off.
Luckily, you all have pencil torches, which aren't great but are better than nothing.
And I can see in the dark.
Yep, and Jiren can indeed see in the dark. So you're stopping at the door?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what are you going to do?
You want me to make sure that this stays open, right?
Unfortunately, Agatha's now in the way. You should break it.
I can smash the door. I was planning on holding it open while Lassa did something technical, but...
Can we get past him?
Yeah, because the thing that you notice now that you're down at the door is that the door and the tunnel beyond that are, because there was a bit of an odd perspective trick from where you were looking, are considerably wider. It's about 12 foot diameter. Certainly it's wide enough that, for example, large engine parts and things taken from the ship could now easily fit down here. Or indeed for, say, things mined on the asteroid to have been brought up.
So this is a separate asteroid station, then?
Yes, looks like.
Knowing the sort of layout for the ships, this door is not from the ships, is what we're saying. Right, okay.
Yep, it's of a similar time period, but this appears to be a proper industrial mining station airlock, and indeed a bit further down you can see recesses about another 10 foot down where the second door that would be the other part of the airlock should be, but aren't.
Is this a pirate stash area that's gone horribly wrong?
More than likely, yeah. Which would explain why they came here. Maybe. Let's not worry about it. We're about to get attacked. Do you want to sort out the door, Lassa?
Alright. Do you want a mechanics test?
I do. It's not that complicated. Difficulty 2. I'm going to give you a setback die just because of the situation. Working in 0G, in fact 2 setback die. Limited light, 0G, crowded, stressed out. I think that seems fair.
I'm going to spend 1 light side point to turn a threat into a nothing, to negate a threat. Okay. So that's 2 successes and 1 threat. Okay.
The successes are, yes, absolutely. You managed to disable this doorway. The threat is that it is not a permanent... you know how the airlock you used to get into the Coster Thibaren, you've completely overrode that. That is under your control and no one else's. This one isn't. It is open for now, and it can't be closed remotely, but if something can get up here, they're going to be able to relock it behind you.
Okay.
With that done, I push on.
Okay. You get to the end of the shaft, lit by the glow rod below. This is very, very oppressive down here. The air is very, very hot. It smells bad. I mean, I don't know how many of you... Are you all breathing through the oxygen masks at this stage?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in which case, yeah. It's very, very oppressive. The air is hot down here. Something is running warm, and there's nowhere for that heat to escape. There is also a real pressure to the air that you get when you're deep underground. Normally, you get it when you're very, very, very deep underground, you know, like in some of the slate mines in Wales, using a real-life example. It shouldn't be this dense, the air, on an asteroid of this size, as far down as you've gone, but it is.
Like a hand pushing down on you.
Yeah. Your senses, that extra sense that you have that makes you receptive to the force, it feels like there's a scummy patina on your skin, on your soul. There is a residue that becomes apparent as you kind of cross the meniscus that is this airlock that Lass has just disabled and moved further down to this place. Even more so than the Coster Thibaren itself, this is a place where the dark side reigns.
It feels corrupt here. It feels like anger and hatred and darkness. Let's shoot a lot of things.
Yes.
Has anything been attracted to the light source down here in the first place? Or can we not see
No,
it yet?
there are things around the outskirts of the light. You can see things are moving.
It's too warm for me to see in the dark.
They are small things. I will say that they are not humanoid sized, and they're certainly not gigantic Dewutin crusher size, and they're not harvester droid size. They are small, they are fast, skittery, just on the outskirts of the light.
Are they skittering around surfaces, or are they using the lack of gravity around here to...
They're skittering around the surfaces. You can see that the floor is metal down here, and the platings are intact. And again, on the very outskirts of the light, you can see cabling just highlight. But again, as with when you first came on the Coster Thibaren and just managed to put on the running lights, while you can see quite well what's in the radius of the glow lamp, for the rest of the room, what it's mostly doing is giving a shape to the darkness. It is just highlighting how that there are things down here, but not clear enough that you can see. For those of you who are trained combatants and have been on the hunt, Agatha and Oberon are most looking at you. Your hackles have absolutely raised.
The point of my question was going to be, basically, is anything that we think is skittering around on what we think of as the floor directly below us?
Yes.
Not on the ceiling or anything
No,
like that?
not on the ceiling. Using shorthand for it, it's on the floor where the glow rod is.
We know this thing knows we're here, and we know that it wants to both talk to us and probably incorporate us into itself. What if one of us goes up to get its attention while the two people that can attack it very well position themselves best to do that?
Okay, I'm not afraid.
I wasn't thinking you.
Who were you thinking of?
Me?
Because he's only got one hand and it's 0G, I can't draw my weapon because I have to pull myself along with one hand. So that's what I do. I start pulling myself towards the thing.
So what I do is I'm stalking. I'd like to make a stealth roll,
Okay.
but I'm stalking Jiren
Okay.
because as soon as something comes for him, I'm blatting it.
I'm not going to make you make a stealth roll because there's nowhere for you to hide unless you go into the room itself.
Right.
But what I will let you do is essentially have 2 manoeuvres worth of aiming for free in case something comes to show that you're keyed up and on edge for it. Unless you go in the room, there's nowhere for you to hide. They don't know whereabouts in the shaft you are, but they know you're there.
Yeah.
So, Jiren, you get to the edge of the shaft.
Yeah, very slowly. Because I can see infrared,
Yeah.
it's quite warm. Can I
Yeah.
see the creatures?
You can now.
Yeah.
They appear to be mouse droids, but they aren't moving right and they don't look right. Their chassis are retaining just enough more of the ambient heat for you to be able to get that kind of image of them.
How high up is the ceiling?
It's about 12 foot.
Okay, I kick off with my feet and I'm
Yeah.
going to pull myself along the ceiling
Okay.
because they're all on the floor.
Yes, they are, yeah.
And just keep pulling along the ceiling.
Okay, you make your way into the room properly, and what you can see is that this is a pretty significantly sized open space, possibly a warehouse or a storage place of some form. There are cables running all over the floor. Some of them are leading through an open doorway deeper into the complex itself. Most of the cabling are running into there. Some of the kind of the bulky technology, you can see through your infravision that they're running extremely hot. They're probably generating some form of power supply. There is cabling that's also going up from them into the shaft and up to the Coster Thibaren.
Okay.
There are a number of these kind of mouse droids on the floor around. You can see by the doorway that the cabling is running into,
Yeah.
you can see there are 4 humanoid figures, just a little bit warmer than the ambient temperature.
Okay. But not much.
But not much. And the bits that are warmer are droid parts that are retaining slightly more heat.
Gotcha.
And where the main kind of power plant bank is, you can see there is something there, but it is too masked by the light that's coming off from the heat.
This is quite a large room, right?
It's roughly circular. It's round about 50 foot in rough diameter, so the asteroid itself isn't massive. It's a reasonable portion of this plane of the asteroid.
So, we're at maybe medium range from these things then, are we?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to stop and wait for everybody else to catch up because we're moving a bit too far forward.
I'm also on the ceiling and I've just been carefully, essentially stalking Duran. If someone was to surprise me, you'd get a bolt just singeing straight past your ear.
Agatha will have been crawling across the ceiling as well, but keeping distance because he usually likes to attack things separately from everywhere else.
Yeah.
Lass is actually kind of looking down at the cables and trying to recognise whether these are power or fuel cables. Are they input or output lines?
From what you can see, they are combination. Some of them are power cables. Some of them are the control conduits through which computer signals are passed through a ship, either from the control stations or the droid. It's those kind of fibre optic cables that basically run through space-going vessels that pass commands through. So yeah, info cables, power cables. There's no fuel cables.
Do our torches, or the fact that we're moving over, because my torches obviously shine down onto the power cables, have they had any effect on what the mouse droids are doing?
Yes, because now that more of you are down with your torches in, the mouse droids are kind of skittering around, and you can see that the mouse droids, some of them have tiny cameras on their backs that are moving around, scoping what's going on. And I am going to be calling for stealth tests now at this point as you're moving into the main cabinet. Some of the mouse droids have extruded tools, maintenance tools, and are tightening things up. And some more of the mouse droids, a smaller selection, have popped out what appear to be vibro knives and are bumbling around, zigging a little bit back and forth, almost as if they're ready to swarm.
What's the difficulty on the stealth?
The difficulty on the stealth is going to be 1 red, 2 purple.
Are we doing a group or are we...
I think actually individual ones, it's important to know who passes and fails. Mikey, you look surprised.
I succeeded, that's why. I got 1 success and 2 threat.
Okay.
Just 1 success.
Okay.
I get 1 success.
Okay.
2 success, but 4 threat.
Ooh.
I'm lingering too long by the mouse droids, aren't I?
Well, they're kind of on the floor, and you're like, what the hell going on now with these things? Okay. Now that you've kind of got your pencil torches around, and essentially that's what causes this whole situation to burst into horrid, frenetic life. Because as your pencil torches are cutting through the gloom, and as you linger a bit long on the mouse droids, what you see is this. By the one doorway that's in here, through which the cables are leaving, are 4 augmented corpses. They have a higher degree of technological replacement than most of them. Not to the same level as a massive Dewutin lifter droid, but these have been augmented further over and above the ones that you fought so far. They also, in their right hands, have blaster pistols fused on. Where the power plant, kind of the main technology generators are, there is what was clearly at some point a Twi'lek. Both of their arms have been replaced with blaster rifles, which are tracking. Their eyes have been replaced with magnoculars. They, however, are missing from the waist down. They appear to have been grafted into what would be a droid recharging port. And we're going to go into initiatives.
Cool or vigilance?
I'll allow y'all to choose, given that you got successful stealth tests. At the moment, they kind of know you're roughly around, but not exactly where you are.
3 success.
Ed?
1 success, 1 advantage.
Remember, you roll a force die as part of your initiative.
I've rolled both my force die and the dark side, so I'm not using them.
Okay, Mim?
I've got 1 success and 2 advantage.
And Mikey?
2 successes, 1 advantage, and a triumph.
And because it's a player triumph, as well as going to the top of the initiative order, one of you gets a free manoeuvre. The first group to go, basically before things kick off, one of you gets a free manoeuvre. Because I'm more generous with player triumphs on initiative. Okay, nice and easy. 2 players, an NPC, 2 players, the other 2 NPCs.
Does anyone have any objection to me taking out the turret?
Not at all.
I would like to use that extra maneuver to take an aim.
Okay.
And then because I've got a maneuver, then take an aim.
Okay.
So what does that give me to?
2 boost die. And because of the threats that have been variously rolled, for all of your first checks, you're all getting a setback die. Ed, on top of that, you're breathing from the rigged up air supply, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Then it is another setback die for the darkness for you.
Okay.
None for 0G because you're not moving, you're kind of holding in place. And
is it just 2 for normal range?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 2 purple for medium range.
I got 3 successes and 3 advantage.
Okay. So your damage is...
So that would be 11 damage.
Okay.
And I can crit.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
Okay, roll percentile.
74.
That is hamstrung. Basically, it loses its free manoeuvre for the rest of the encounter, which is good. It means it can't get can't aim unless it wants to take some strain. Who knows? Next player character.
I think we're about level on shooting, aren't we? Me and you, Lesser. So we're at medium range, so you could get in to fight them at range, but I think you should probably wait and see if they come closer, Agatha. So shall I go?
Go for it.
Okay, so using the pistol, which has a range of medium, I'm going to shoot one of the base droids, the superior ones, but yeah. So that is a setback for the threat we had.
Yep, you don't take setbacks from darkness.
I do not take setbacks from darkness, no.
They do have a defense of 1.
Okay, so that's another setback, is it?
Yes.
Just an advantage.
Okay.
So
pass a boost on to the next person.
Yeah, I'm going to pass a boost on to the next person.
Okay. The Twi'lek droid goes next and it is targeting Oberon.
That doesn't look good.
That is not good. For the listeners, that is 5 successes, a triumph, and 3 threat.
Ow.
So that is 14 damage.
Ouch.
Before soak. Are you still conscious?
Just about. There's a great big hole in my very fancy armour.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to use the triumph to trigger the linked quality on its blaster, which does another 14 damage to you. Now, as soon as you hit 0, you are unconscious. Basically, you're out of it. That means it crits on you automatically.
Okay.
And for the crit, I roll 75. So if you get medpacked conscious again, you will lose your free manoeuvre until the end of the encounter.
Okay.
The first blaster shot hits you, Oberon. Then, as you kind of reel back from that, the second one from its other arm clips you as well and just crashes you against the ceiling. And you kind of hang there, floating limply.
So one shot gets me in the chest, and then as I react to that, my position moves, and it basically hits me across the face.
Yeah, giving you a nice dramatic scar. Luckily, since it's a blaster, it's cauterized. So, next PC.
That looked really threatening, and I think I want to disable it.
Okay.
So I'm going to... It's going to look like I'm sort of skimming across the ceiling very quickly, and then kicking off and punching it.
Are you force moving to try and leap in, or are you moving, taking 2 strain for a second manoeuvre to close the distance and then...
I can afford to take the strain at this point to get in and engage it.
Okay, that's fine.
So just takes 2 strain and then brawl?
Yes, I'm not going to make you roll a coordination test. There are plenty of handhold and footholds that allow you to get there.
Okay, 1 setback and what difficulty?
It is 2 purple. Where am I?
After the cancellation, I have 2 light side points left.
So spend them on successes?
Yes, I spent... Okay, 2 successes.
Yep, so you hit for 2 successes. So what's the damage of you now with your vibro knuckles?
4, I think.
Plus 2 for the successes is 6. And they have pierce, don't they?
Pierce and vicious.
Okay, vicious is if you crit. What's the pierce rating?
1.
Okay, so that is enough to take it out.
Cool.
It's not particularly tough. It's a semi-organic weapon. So what does that look like?
Agatha smash. Agatha has just coasted across the ceiling, kicked off the ceiling, and just Supermaned his way into it, would be my way of explaining it. Just put fists forward and punch straight through it.
Yeah, so next play character. So, yeah, Mim.
That's a lot of carnage to have watched.
It's okay. We had a pep talk.
How far away from me is Oberon?
Oberon's right next to you.
Right next to me?
Yeah, it's right next to you.
Okay, I'm going to grab him then and shove a stim pack into him. So that's another one gone.
Is this your first one of the day? Or no, it's your second, isn't it?
Second.
So that heals you 4.
Okay.
And you've still got your action since stim packing is a manoeuvre.
I suppose I'm going to try to do some medicine in 0 gravity.
Okay.
I'm hoping that they're going to be paying more attention to Agatha now.
Okay, it's a 2 purple check because of how injured he is. I'm not going to throw a setback in there for 0G or the light because you're not trying to do anything too spectacular and he's right by you in your light, so...
Do I still have the setback dice that everybody got So is that for this test?
Yes, because it's for your first test.
Yep, so here we go. Now, hold still. Should be easy. You passed out. Alright, altogether that is 4 successes, but 2 threat.
Okay, so that's 4 more wounds healed. I'm going to give Oberon 2 strain for that from the trauma of... I kind of imagine, because the stim pack's gone in and Lasser's electro-cured you to get that round your body faster, and that palpitations as you suddenly kind of go...
There's only 2 logical places for it to go, and it's either the big hole in his chest or in his neck, either of which are going to look really dramatic.
And she's not being gentle. I mean, she was quite gentle with Duran when he lost his arm, but by now it's like, well, it's your own bloody fault.
There's a massive dry heave and a cough.
There you go, better out than in.
Crikey!
NPCs. The first group of 2 of these superior Zomborgs are going to advance on Agatha and attempt to tear him apart with their claws.
Makes sense.
They succeed, so that is 1 success and 1 advantage. That's 6 damage before your soak.
Okay.
And for the advantage, I'm going to pass a boost onto the second group.
Okay.
The second group are also going to swarm you at the moment. As far as they're concerned, you are the threat.
Yep. Cool. Because I'm the one who's just crushed one of them.
Exactly. And the only other threat they knew about was Oberon, who, as far as they're aware, has just been shot. And that's 3 success and an advantage, so that's 8 damage before soak.
Okay. Agatha's looking bruised and probably still a little bit bloody, but he's still hanging on.
Okay. Back round to the top. First player character.
I'm going to smash into the next one.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
I mean, these guys are in close combat.
Oh yeah, they're all engaged with you at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to barrel in.
Okay, so it's 2 purple and a black for their defence. Remember, you can spend your manoeuvre to aim to gain an extra boost die.
I would like to do that because I'm right in the thick of it, so I am not using dark side points. I have 1 success and 4 advantage.
Okay. Well, that's enough to crit, I think, with your Vibro Knuckles.
Yep, definitely.
Well, that will take 1 out straight away if you want to crit on it.
I will do that.
And then 1 success, so is 5 damage pierce 1?
Yes.
One of them you take out immediately. The other one is very, very badly damaged from your blow. So what does that look like?
Agatha's on a roll. Agatha's enjoying himself. Having just punched his way through one droid, he's now just smashing his way through the next one and the next. And yes, they're coming at him. Yes, he's looking bruised, but I'm imagining sort of a cyclone of whirlwinding through them each other. Only he's coming out of it intact and they're not.
Okay. Next player character.
Oberon quick draws his pistol, because I can just leave the rifle floating next to me conveniently, because it's 0 gravity.
Yep.
And takes a look to see what's still standing, and pretty much almost directly down and fires.
Okay. Which group are you going for? The intact, completely unharmed group of 2, or the one remaining very badly injured one?
The completely intact group of 2.
Okay. So your difficulty is 1 purple and 1 red, because you're firing into melee and they're still at medium range from you, and 2 setback die. 1 for the darkness, 1 for their defence.
Do I have a manoeuvre left, or was that...
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Can I have aimed?
You can indeed aim. I think there's still 2 light side points as well if you want them.
It's my less brilliant making things dead skills, but I'm saving the rifle.
Maybe you shouldn't have saved the rifle.
Maybe I shouldn't have saved the rifle. It's a failure and an advantage. I'll pass the advantage on.
Yeah, pass the boost on.
So essentially there's a big flash of light. How many shots are left with the posh antique pistol, or do we not know?
3 in total you had.
Yeah, and you've used 3.
So that's it. It is presently out of power. So the very badly injured one is going to continue attacking Agatha, because they are the ones that are most immediately locked in mortal combat.
Yep.
And that is a single success after dice have cancelled out, so that's 6 damage before soak. Next player character.
Lasser would like to attack the cables that are running.
Okay.
So I'm going to shoot whichever looks the biggest.
All right. Okay.
Or most important.
Okay.
My hope is that if I attack the power cables, it will either really damage Mr. Flesh, stop him having control over stuff, or at the very least, keep the smaller droids busy, because they look like they're mostly there to repair stuff and keep it safe. So I'm going to move in close for a manoeuvre.
Okay.
And then use one of my tools from my custom toolkit and stuff like that to literally hack through it.
Are you sure that's a good idea? Because the maestros can attack you if you get in close, but if you stay up and shoot, they won't be able to get you.
I'm not a very good shot.
Yeah, but they might be very good at stabbing.
You could use the book, can you?
I don't think so.
At your current power level, you probably need to be engaged for
Yeah.
it. So it's 2 range bands. Oh no, because it's cables leading up to the Coster Thibaren. So yeah, you can just try and take one of those. It depends which power cables that you're looking for. The ones leading to the Coster Thibaren, or the ones leading into the other room?
Probably the ones leading into the other room, because
Okay.
that means they're hopefully connected to Mr. Flesh.
Right. They are 2 manoeuvres worth of movement away. So you can take 2 strain to get there and then have your action if you want to do it with your toolkit.
I can always kick back up and float away again. So that's the joy of anti-gravity. So I think I'm going to risk it.
Okay. Make me a mechanics test. Difficulty only 1, but I'm going to throw in 2 setback die for the 0G and for the darkness. In fact, I'm going to flip a dark side point. So it's 1 red and 2 setback.
Right, so taking quite a bit of strain now, but let's give it a try. No, this was not good. Really not good. It's 2 success, a threat, and a despair.
Okay, so the success is, yes, you do shut off one of the power cables. There is, oddly, not over the comms in the ship, but from the next room.
No.
Touched a nerve there, I think.
This is what happens next. The threat is another strain as electricity courses up your arm. The despair is this. The mouse droids that are nearby swarm you. Now, even with the little vibro knives, they just don't have the ramming speed or the strength to do a great deal of damage, really. But they are going to do 3 wounds to you through your soak as they just start hitting your foot with vibro knives. They just take a bit of a run up and then charge in. I mean, they're small, they're the size of a large phone, but there's just enough of them and with repetition that they're cutting into your boot as you're carving through the power cable. Next player character.
I think it's me. Okay, so just taking in the scene, is Lassa particularly affronted by this? How's she doing?
She's clearly not happy.
Yeah.
It looks like, whereas she's a little bit shocked and stamping on them, she's going to be overwhelmed. She's not able to get out of it. She's just hopping. She's just dancing on the spot like an old western with gunshots being fired at her feet.
Righto. And Agatha. How's Agatha doing in his fight? Does he? I mean, he looks to be joyous, but does he also look to be joyous and bloody?
He's a bit bloody, but he's 12 hooping, so...
Okay.
He's probably going to make it through the big ones of these. It's the little ones that causing the problem.
Okay, so Jiren is going to... is it 2 manoeuvre to get to where Lassa is?
Yes.
Did you say? Jiren is going to use 2 manoeuvre, spend a bit of strain, to move to where Lassa is, and he's going to just grab on, basically try and pull her off the ground as he goes past. But while he grabs, that's an action for later. What I'm going to try and do is just try and heal her. Okay, he's quite obviously panicking because that's a lot of dark side points which I am not using. So you are grabbed by Jiren in a kind of like as he passes, and hopefully it will give you a bit of momentum when you try and move off. Next go.
Okay, it's the intact group that are attacking Agatha. For 3 successes, that's 8 damage before soak, but no advantage, no threat.
Agatha's now looking very, very, very bloody.
Back round to the top, first player character.
Agatha's going to grab a stim pack, apply it to himself, and then hit what's there in front of him.
Okay. Is this your 3rd stim pack of the day?
Yes, it will be.
So that's 3 wounds that he'll heal.
Okay. If Agatha doesn't get through this bit, he's probably going to need some healing.
Okay. And which one are you attacking? The one that's very, very badly damaged or the intact group?
We're engaged with both of them at the minute, aren't we?
Yes.
If I attack the damaged one, that's only one thing that can hit me.
Take out the easy target and then I'll try and do as much damage as I can to the next group.
Yeah, but I'm actually pretty good at hitting the damaged one as well at the minute. The intact one, so I'm good. Try and take out the intact one.
Okay.
What difficulty at the minute?
2 purple and black.
2 lats and 3 advantage, which I'll turn you to 2 success and 3 advantage.
So are you going to crit on the intact group?
Yes.
I'll take one of them out immediately. 2 successes is 6 damage pierce 1. And that leaves you with 1 advantage left that you can use to recover a strain maybe, or pass a boost on to the next person who goes.
I'll pass a boost on to the next person who goes.
Okay. So once again, one of the intact group has been smashed to pieces and the other one is very badly injured. So there's now 2 very badly injured droids that are fighting you at present. Next player character.
Oberon lines up a shot, grabs the rifle. Is it a move action to change weapons?
Yes, it will be.
So change weapons?
Yep.
I'll take 2 strain to aim because it's always nice. So that's one success and 2 advantage.
Okay. Well, that 1 success, knowing your damage, is enough to absolutely demolish one of the remaining injured droids. What do you wish to do with your advantage? Regain that strain?
I regain that strain.
The remaining badly injured droid continues to attempt to tear Agatha apart. Not quite as effectively, 1 success and 1 advantage, so that is 6 damage before your soak, and the 1 advantage, it's just going to hold a boost in reserve for itself should it survive another round of combat.
Agatha is looking very bruised. Yeah, he's nearly out of wounds.
Okay, next player character.
I know you think you're helping, Duran, but we need to cut these cables. Didn't you hear it? It doesn't like it.
Well, do it then.
Okay, so I'm going to sweep my cutting tool again and try and hit more cables.
Okay.
So I'll do another mechanics check.
Yep.
What difficulty again?
It's 2 purple. I'm not upgrading it this time.
Okay. I'm going to use a dark side point to negate 1 failure,
Okay.
which means I've got 1 success and 2 advantage.
Okay. Mikey, can you flip me a dark side point, light side point, please? And you'll take a strain for drawing upon the dark side of the Force.
Yeah, I am in proper destructive mode at the moment. I'm just
Okay.
panickingly trying to destroy things.
So that was 1 success and 2 advantage?
Yes.
Okay. The power cable severs. There is sparks that fly, and it looks like what this power was going to is one of the comms units, because suddenly the mouse droids stop moving with purpose and start kind of spinning around on the spot.
Yes!
The remaining droid that Agatha was fighting slumps down, having lost all coherence, and suddenly, over your comms, you hear, "I repeat, what's going on in there? We've lost contact. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? What's gone on? Jaren, Lasser, Oberon, Agatha, any of you, get back to me. What's happening?" And that point, we are ending the episode for today. This episode's patron is Ozzy Beck. Ozzy was one of the first people to really believe in the show. He's been with us right from episode 1 when we launched this crazy wild ride well over 18 months, nearly 2 years ago now, and has been with us, as I say, every step of the way. Thank you so much, Ozzy, for everything you've done for the show, for your support, for talking to us, for dealing with our nonsense, for all your engagement. We really, we do really appreciate it. I say it every week, but it's no less true. We do really appreciate all of our listeners, and we really, really are grateful for your support for the show. So thank you very much, Ozzy.
Thanks,
You
Ozzy.
give us purpose.
Thank you.
And we will see the rest of you next time.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.